He was going to be doing some music accompaniment for me, I would have been here late on purpose.
Yeah, I got to make an intro song for the meeting.
Let's do it up. You got. It seems like you got lots of equipment back there.
I do. Yeah, y'all are in the studio right now.
So cool. Same with me, but really all I have is a keyboard for a computer.
That's all right. Any kind of keyboard, it works.
Actually, I have 3 hand drums here. So if you really want to get fancy, I got you. I don't know how it's going to sound across Zoom as a modality, but we can give it a shot.
Oh man, I love it. I love it.
Oh man.
Hi, Marty.
We got a good squad here. Marty got a fresh haircut. Jordan, I actually think I have not the same shirt, but a very similar shirt.
I
Look
love
at this. Jared, $1 million man. Steve, what up, dude?
Hello. What's up, Sean?
How's it going?
Jeffrey, what's up?
How are you, brother? Congratulations.
doing, man?
I haven't talked to you since the wedding.
I know, it's been a while.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jeffrey, it was a Washington, Tony and Woods reunion for sure.
Yeah, I know. It seems like it.
Dakota, man, how many miles are you going to crush on the call today on your treadmill?
I don't want to know everybody.
Rob, you can't unmute yourself. I would just log out and log back in, Rob. Sorry about that. Jessica, what's happening? Brian, we got Brian joining. We got a good group here.
Got it.
We're 1 minute away from getting to hear people sing. Can't wait for this. Actually, I had someone who knows they're going to be late shoot me a text and goes, if I give you a heads up, can I get out of it? And I was like, no. So we'll see how that goes. Dakota, you're not in our group chat. We have a rule. If you're more than 3 minutes late, you have to sing 15 seconds of your favorite song. So well,
Sean,
once
you look like a true Idahoan there with the hair and the flannel. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Idahoan, yeah. I am definitely up north. Actually, so there's a highway, but there's a stop sign to get onto the highway here. So it's not really a highway. And to the left it says Coeur d'Alene, which is actually city. To the right, Sandpoint. I went past the exit once, and the next exit said last exit in the United States, because we're just like right here on Canada. I was like, oh boy, I did not even realize how north we were. Sam, what's happening? Brian, what's going on?
What's going on?
Cool. Guys, 9:03, that is our official start time. I want to thank you all for hopping on this call. I think we have a couple people that are going to trickle in here, but appreciate you making time as always. Everyone here, got a bunch going on, so appreciate it, and hopefully it shows that you guys get quite a bit out of the call. Wanted to start by making introductions to new people on the call today. I think the only new person is my brother, Jeffrey. Me and Jeffrey actually finished an 8-day camping trip together, and we were talking about this, and he seemed motivated to join. So Jeffrey, if you don't mind giving a little intro, who you are, what you do, and one thing that you're stoked about in life right now.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jeffrey. I am Sean's somehow older brother. You wouldn't know by looking at us, but that's all good. I'm a musician, if you couldn't guess. I've been playing professionally for 7 years. I don't know how I trick people into that, but that's been fun. I am part of a couple projects that I'm pretty stoked on. I run a Grateful Dead band, which is probably one of the most fun, creative bands that I'm in. But I'm in a couple original groups. This dude Will Leet and this girl Gabby Rose. She runs a band called N Rose. They're both pretty sick, and very fortunate to get to play with them. And then writing my own stuff on the side and hanging at home with the pups. You can't see them, but they're in here. But yeah, that's me out in basically New York, but Jersey.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I've actually, it's funny. I've actually been had the chance to like work with Jeffrey, or like connect him in some things, like sometimes he's written music for people's podcasts and things like that. And we'll get into that because I want to add like a new element to this meeting about how we can all like start to help each other. But obviously, if anyone has questions in the music space, good person to go to, or really accessing creativity. Because I think, I don't know, when you're in a creative mindset, we all know what that feels like when you're writing, when you're making something versus consuming. And Jeffrey gets to kind of live in that mindset quite a bit more than most of us. And talking about creative mindset, I want to welcome our guest today, Dakota. Dakota? Thank you for joining us. And the reason that that kind of Jeffrey being the creative space made me want to reach out to you, Dakota, or introduce you right now, Dakota, was the message that you sent me through email when I introduced you to Jeff, the owner of Worldwide, was really amazing. And I want to actually share it before I give you a second to introduce yourself. And
That the
guys,
one with all the nude pictures?
yeah. Yeah,
That is private, dude.
I'll be pulling up my screen here.
No.
Guys, I give you a little intro on Dakota. Dakota was actually, I think, my 4th guest on my podcast. I met Dakota in Bend, Oregon. I was like, who is this cool young guy who is like biking around and running at like 11 a.m. on Tuesdays when we all should be working? And I got the chance to meet him actually at a Ginger and Tucker dinner party, I think it was. We both had short commutes, and yeah, I had the chance to learn about what Dakota does. I'll let him give an introduction, but I called him on my podcast the Dos Equis man, because he has a strong curiosity for learning, and then he has an ability to bring concepts that, like, hey, I want to learn this new language, this new instrument, whatever, and taking it actually to a place where he completes it, right? And we don't just get lost in the idea. And that's really a skill that enhances life. And I love that, and I admire you heavily, Dakota, about that area. I really like the way you kind of like, have designed your life. And the email that I was talking about was, I was introducing Dakota to someone who's also into mountain biking and traveling, and for some reason just kind of reminded me of Dakota, and I thought they would really hit it off. And Dakota said, like, what reminds you of me? I was like, well, these things, you guys travel, mountain bike, business owners. And Dakota mentioned that he's trying to focus, and I'll let you explain on this a little more, Dakota. He's trying to focus more on things that drive creativity than just like travel and experiences to really stimulate him. And that was really a point of reflection for me, because my whole life is about, travel, Dakota, right now. So I appreciate you always being inquisitive, and I'd love if you can just share a little bit about yourself right now. And then we'll get into like the lifestyle design stuff. But if you want to get a little intro, I think that'd be great.
Cool. Thanks for having me, everybody. It's a smoky day in Bend, Oregon, so I'm not going to be outside, except it might clear at the mountain. So, yeah, so that intro that he's talking about, it just made me think kind of who I used to be, which is something I've been, I guess, shifting a lot in the last 3 or 4 years. And before we moved to Bend, my wife and I traveled a ton. We met overseas. She's American, I'm American, but we met in Prague. Our first date was a month in Eastern Europe. Our second date was 3 months in China, Vietnam. And then we did a 3-year live in our van, travel the world, bike toured for like 6 months around the world. And then we got super burned out on travel and moved to Bend at the end of 2016. And yeah, since then it's been more like community driven, social stuff, outdoor time, like spending a lot of time bike packing, biking, running, climbing, like all the sports, the things you do in Bend, Oregon. And I just kind of found myself shifting away from that. And that's kind of what I was referring to, is a lot of people still perceive me as that because I still do those things, but I'm not those things. And so the last like 3 years, I've spent a lot of time, even pre-COVID, I was shifting into more of a creative mindset, coming from really my parents. They're super creative. They're both MFAs, Master of Fine Arts and Ceramic Arts, like an hour from where Sean is. I grew up pretty close to where he is, in northern Idaho. And these days, I'm just putting a lot of energy into studying languages. I'm getting my Italian citizenship and plan to do a lot more living abroad and studying piano, guitar, mostly piano, and then doing a lot of drawing and just kind of rediscovering my creative side. Thing I didn't mention at all, I guess, is the business that I run. And it's funny, it's like this used to be the center of my life, was earning money and thinking about money and trying to have stability because of money. And now like, I don't even mention my business in my intro. I totally forgot. So I run a business that does like finance for houses, basically. Started out with sustainability. I'm a mechanical engineer and kind of by random ways found my way into finance. After like a year in engineering, just realized I hated it. Wanted to run my own gig, wanted to be able to bike on Tuesdays. And yeah, just thinking about wanting to have a flexible lifestyle where I could decide what I did versus other people making the call. So that's kind of how I've built my life. And now it's just shifting to a different focus while I still do the bike packing trips and stuff like that, but not without the other things.
Yeah. Dakota, I appreciate you allowing me to put you on the spot like that. And thank you for joining us, man.
Sure.
Yeah, it's funny because we tend to put people in boxes, right? It makes it easy to communicate and remember. And yeah, Nick, like I love the way you said it. You still travel, you still bike pack, things like that, but like that's not like who you are at all. Just like your business. I mean, you run a business, but again, that's not who you are. So wanted to go through our quick wins here. And before we do that, Ashley, do you mind if I put you on the spot? Give you a little 15 seconds of spotlight here.
I don't mind, John.
What song are we going with today?
I'm gonna sing a song from my childhood from Lamb Chop's Play Along, the puppet show that used to come on public television, MPT.
Yeah.
It was in my area. Are you ready?
We're ready.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. And that's my 15 seconds.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. Guys, first of all, Ashley, you're awesome for that. I appreciate it. The reason that I want to do that was I'm reading a book called The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler. Stephen Kotler is the founder of the Flow Research Collective. He's working with neuroscientists, people that are focused on neuroplasticity, all about, it's basically how to like orchestrate your life for flow. And they found that the number one characteristic that you need when you're doing something hard is to be able to overcome fear. That's the number one thing. And it goes across everything. So if that's starting, a new business and taking financial risk, if that's trying to surf big waves, whatever, fear is the number one thing that you need to overcome. So being able to just like do little goofy things like that are fun. Also, overcoming repression too. I think that's a big thing that we can all work on. If anyone's read the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss talks about how he does practices like just lays down in the middle of restaurants and things like that just to act weird and practice not repressing like weird thoughts like that. So thanks for doing that, Ashley. What I wanted to do now was I have a timer on my phone, 30 seconds, and I want everyone to go around and just give us some quick wins from the last time we spoke. Everyone has to give a win, and nothing's too small. You can have more than one win, whatever, but wanna hear what everyone's up to. And yeah, I'm gonna just work from my screen going across. So Steve, we'll start with you, man.
Hey, what's up, everyone? So for those of you who don't know me, I have a people-centric business, which essentially means we grow the business to expand our positive impact on other people. And that's a huge part of my why in life. And I've just been spending a lot of time engaging my team lately, talking about this. And it's been really cool to see people light up and kind of share my vision for the business. So thanks, Sean.
Hey, didn't know there was a sound there. Awesome. I love that. Next is gonna be Jordan.
Hey y'all. It's been a really exciting week for me. I think one thing I got to do yesterday that I figured it would be interesting to share with you all is ever since I relocated to Tucson, Arizona, I got involved in the startup community here, which is small, but getting more and more mighty each week. And so it's really built around this core community called Startup Tucson, very simple brand. And they run lots of different types of mentorship programs embedded into more broad programs that are aimed to serve different types of entrepreneurs within the community. And so I've actually been mentored through Startup Tucson before, but yesterday was my first opportunity to get involved as a mentor. And then they basically did like speed networking type mentorship, 30-minute sessions, about 5 of them back to back over about a 2.5-hour window. And it just kind of reminded me the importance of, I call it the learning lifestyle, but basically like either always, mentoring or getting mentored and putting yourself in a position to learn that way. Because I think, the best way to learn is to teach. I think most of you have probably heard that before, but it just reinforced for me, a big tool that we're working on is mentorship within our platform. And I think yesterday, basically as a, entrepreneur going through case studies of, a middle-aged woman trying to get a pickling operation off the ground using rescued food products, a custom woodworking entrepreneur trying to figure out how to make the business sustainable for himself and his family. And then I spoke to a performance and an executive coach trying to figure out how to produce a physical product. She calls them SaaSformation cards. So I helped her build a financial model and kind of understand the unit cost economics. So it was just really cool to be able to do that. And I think even though, sacrificing some of your time to do stuff like that, seems like it's a big investment, but it really does, serve the community and it serves you, especially if you go in with that lens. So that's something, a highlight for me for the week that I think just reinforced some of the principles that we're working on from a business perspective and a product perspective too.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jordan. And it's kind of like one of those things, like me taking the time to like set up this group. Like in the beginning, I looked at it as like a little stressor, but I've realized it pays quite a lot of dividends, even if it just makes me like feel good, like doing things with the community. I think I might have mentioned this last time. I'm not sure. You and Ashley and Brian, work together, but you and Ashley definitely need to connect. Ashley has a program for young people to work on their emotional and mental well-being, and she's focused on the educational space. So I'm not sure if there's a business opportunity. Maybe you can support Ashley with some introductions or something. But yeah, that's awesome. I am gonna try to keep things moving here. So Jeffrey, if you want to give a quick 30-second wins from the week.
Sure. I don't know if there are any audio dorks out there, but see these tan things behind me? They're acoustic panels. I finally built all of them properly. So that was exciting. And I bought a pedal steel the other day, which is a unbelievably difficult instrument. And I'm finally learning how to wrestle with these finger picks, which seemed impossible before. But now it's slightly less impossible, slightly more possible.
So if anyone needs a pedal stealer.
Yeah. If anybody's trying to put out their debut country album, let me know.
Yeah. Rob, talk to me, bud.
Yo, what's up, everybody? So as you guys know, I closed on my first rental property at the start of the month, and had some challenges along the way, but it's going well. As of today, I'll have all new windows. The whole house is re-sided, looking real nice. A little bit to finish upside, and I'll have a new tenant in. There's a pretty nice win. My mortgage and interest and taxes about $500 a month, and I'll be able to rent this out for about $1,500 a month. So it's a nice little extra $1,000 a month. So pretty
Hell
happy
yeah.
about that. Good start.
Awesome. Jared.
What's up, everyone? If you guys don't know me, I recently got into real estate, got my real estate license about 2 months ago. So my first win was I got my first buyer under contract about 2 weeks ago. We beat out 6 other offers. So that was pretty cool just to go through that negotiation. And then a second win I had since our last call, I spoke about the charity that I was helping out with, and we just had that event. They recently just asked me, or I recently just got nominated to be on the board. So I got like a little interview type thing next week, and we'll find out about that. But I'm pretty confident that it's going to work out. So pretty cool stuff.
I love it. I love it. Marty.
Hello, everyone. I guess my win for the month would be I had a little boys trip last weekend with some high school friends and got to see an old friend that I hadn't seen in a while and some of his family, and it was just good to reconnect. It's a great weekend.
Dude, I love that. 2 months in a row, Marty, yours has been about community and like connection, you know. Last time I think you and Aaron set aside time to do a 3-day camping trip, and I think that's awesome. I mean, everyone on here, right? Like I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that work for themselves and are, you know, and everyone's trying to do things on the side. So I know there's a lot going on in everyone's lives. Like I love that, Marty. Thanks. Sam, dude, what's up, man? I'm seeing you in a month.
Yo, yeah, that's definitely my big win, committing to do the Rise and Flow retreat. So I'm super pumped for that. In what is that, 3 weeks at this point?
Yeah. And the days after you stay, this will be your bedroom. I won't work in here.
Love it. Love it. I'm excited.
No, I know I appreciate that. And I think most people on here know that we're holding a retreat up in northern Idaho. So definitely looking forward to having you, man.
Likewise.
Jess.
Yeah, my win recently since I last saw you guys would have to be just keeping up with a journaling practice. I've really been more consistent than I have been recently. So I'm proud of that.
Love that. Thanks. You know, Brendan St. Brown, who he's on a lot of these calls, he wasn't able to make it today. He basically says journaling is like the reason he's been happy and successful. So if you want to connect to him, he has a very rigid 3 times a day journaling practice on 3 different prompts that he created himself. And he actually showed me a journal entry he wrote when he was 19 years old, that when he was 24, he was going to be sharing his thoughts with the world, living by himself in Miami and financially free, and one more, and they all came true before, like a couple weeks before his 24th birthday. It's one of those weird stories, but like, you know, Ashley, and then Brian.
My win is, made some really good progress on the sales side for our corporate wellness. That's exciting. And then also I was able to get in a grant for the Maryland State Department of Education. Found out about it at the last minute, but the team and I cranked it out and got it in by the deadline, and that felt really awesome.
Awesome. Love that. Brian.
Oh, I'm feeling good this week. Started the week, ran a marathon, my first marathon, 26.2 miles. I was pumped from that point. I was hurt, but I was keep pushing. I run operations for emotional wellness software company where I work with Ashley. Ashley's the CEO. And I just am super grateful to just be around amazing people. I feel like it's duality, because another thing that I do is I'm a certified yoga instructor and a mindfulness instructor, and I had kind of faced a fear of mine. Just I kind of have like survivor's remorse, just truthfully. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I was a street performer when I was younger. So I decided to give back to my community a bit, and I've been working with people within who are incarcerated to work through mindfulness and yoga practices on Zoom. And it's been one of those things that has been kind of like emotionally draining, just truthfully, because it's such a different place than I am now, but it also gives me a lot of duality. And my biggest win is that every day this month, I've said affirmations with my two daughters, 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I'm this sounds like a weird win, but last win, I have worked through paying bills without wincing and feeling anxiety. So I've done this practice where I just breathe a couple of times before I do it. And I say, thank you for giving me this light. Thank you for giving me this phone service. Thank you for allowing me to have a car for another month. Because just truthfully, I feel like in order for me to grow, I need to be okay with like the transfer of money and energy. So like that's full transparency.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I appreciate that. Couple things here. Marty's girlfriend Erin ran in the same marathon, so maybe Erin and you can take a run in Baltimore sometime.
She did the half. It was tough.
Yeah. The other thing, guys, Brian's lying. So I got to call him out. He said he was hurting after his marathon. He sent me this about 9 seconds after he finished. So that looks like a happy man. He doesn't look like he's hurting. And the other thing is, as far as what you said about your affirmations, we could go into that for a while. Maybe we should, but I promise you, Rob is. I saw Rob's face. Rob wants to talk to you about that. I know Rob well, so you guys should definitely link on that. But oh boy, Marquise is here. Hey, Marquise is gonna sing Jay-Z, Take This to the Bank. But Brian, yeah, definitely connect with Rob. Probably Steve would love to chat about that too. Maybe we can all hop in after. But my thoughts on those affirmations, Brian, are like, or even the way you're talking about like the financial thing, like you totally have to be like have a good relationship to money. If you think like it's painful paying bills, my thought is you're putting this energy out there that like it's because money is a finite resource and it's not going to flow back in your direction, versus like you said, you're putting this energy out there like you pay for your phone bill and you use your phone all day every day. Like it's a good energy exchange. It's definitely coming back, so appreciate that.
Sean, there's a really good section in The Secret that talks about that too. I picked that habit up quite a while, and I found it very powerful. Anytime you're putting money out, to be grateful for it, no matter what it is. Even in the story, she's running low on money. She takes the last of her money out of her account and gives it away because she's so confident that money is coming to her. So I think it's really powerful. And Brian, that's really cool you're doing that.
Yeah, man. I want to sit on this for a second. I'm a believer in the primary law of vibrations and the secondary law of manifestation and or law of attraction. And like I think there's a big difference between like thinking and then feeling and doing. And you know, if you think money's gonna like come to you, it's like great, or wealth or happiness or health, it's gonna come to you, great. But if you really feel it and act on it, you would give your last penny away because it's coming. Like if it was a sure thing, it's coming. So, you know, like I think when we're trying to manifest things in our life, we should really think like, are we actually acting and feeling the level of confidence that we need to attract what we're looking for? Because if it's just intellectually, the mind is a very small percent of the body, right? We need to feel it throughout like our whole body and really, you know, attract that. So I appreciate you.
Can I offer a quick thought there?
Yeah.
So my wife is she has her DMP. So, you know, I'm like, she's at the top of the level in terms of her field, and you know what I mean? And no offense to her, but she operates out of this place of fear. And I realize it starts to rub off on me a little bit sometimes, where it's like, oh, like we could just figure it out. We can, you know, just full transparency. I gotta figure out some new childcare situations. And that might be like an extra, you know, 600 a week just in terms of like thought. And if you don't have kids, that sounds like a big number. If you do have kids, you're like, it might be cheap depending on where you go, right? But like recently when I started doing that, when we have those conversations, it's like, all right, well, we just figure out another way. All right, well, you know, we'll just make some more. What you can either save money, you can cut expenses someplace, or you can make more money. We don't have that many options. You know what I mean? So, and it's weird because I see her as like she's at the top of her field, and it's like she still has all this fear, and it's like, you know, I don't want to really live like that. So I was very thoughtful and transparent a couple of months ago to kind of make those moves. And it's funny because I did read The Secret around that time. And then I also started doing this yoga and meditation with, funny, Ashley had sent over some resources for that. And, you know, I feel like what I want is available, and what I want is an option, and it's possible. And you know, I don't want to minimize myself. I really want to just live my life the best that I can. And doing something like a marathon, although it's not exactly related, it really kind of like solidifies that. Like, all right, well, if you want it, it's a possibility. So that's my last 2 cents on that. I'm gonna let other people talk.
No, Brian, I appreciate it. I want to tell you about an experience that I had. I think a lot of people here are familiar with Wim Hof, and I had a chance to like kind of study under him for 7 days at his retreat in Spain. And we had a chance to do Q&A with Wim. Wim was around like all weekend, and I had some one-on-one time with him, some group time, but I wanted to ask this question for the whole group, because if one person has the question, we all do. And I said, Wim, like you're putting out like this great like energy, trying to heal the world and give people strength, but like, what if you're trying to get people close to you, or people that you have relationships with, and you can't, you know, like they're not on the bandwagon, or you're trying to like bring them up to speed? And I think what he told me was basically one of the best piece of advice ever. And Brian, I'd like to pass that to you. And it was basically, you know, be a role model and keep beating the drum. You know, like all you can do is you can continue to put that good energy out there, and, you know, like have, you know, it'll influence your wife and everyone around you, and just, you know, keep beating the drum and keep working at it. It's not, none of this stuff changes overnight. So you and I can discuss this offline. I do want to give Dakota a chance as our guest to share a little bit about his lifestyle design. But first, Marquise, Jason, I had you guys hop on. I was wondering if you guys had a song for us, either of you. Maybe Marquise first.
A song. Yeah, I can do one. Sean knows I'm a big Jay-Z fan, so I'll do a Jay-Z one. But it won't be Blueprint 3. You know, one of my favorite Jay-Z albums is the Reasonable Doubt album. So in the song Feeling It, he's got a verse that's like
oh, that's a good song.
Yeah, he's got a song, making sure every brother stay rich within my cipher, We paid the price to Circular Success. They turned my mic up. I'm about to hit these brothers with some shit that'll light your life up. If every brother in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged, nobody will fall because everyone will be each other's crutches.
I'm feeling it, dude. That's a jam. I appreciate you,
Yeah.
Marquise. Hey, Marquise and me shared headphones on the sideline in 8th grade basketball when the Blueprint 3 came out, and we were just rocking to the whole album. Jason, are you up for giving us 10 seconds?
Yeah, I'm terrible with lyrics. I actually had to pull some up. I'll see if you guys know what this is. Hopped off the plane at LAX with my dream in my cardigan. Welcome to the land of BMXS. Woo! Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in the cab for the first. Jumped in the cab. Here I am for the first time.
First time.
Look to my right and I see my Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy.
Crazy.
Everybody seems so famous.
Hell yeah, Jason.
All right, I might be late
Thanks,
every
Jason.
week.
I'm too
We'll see.
tone deaf to ever do that. So yeah, spoken
Is that
word for
Jay-Z
me.
too?
Yeah, that's Jason.
That was some more Jay-Z. I appreciate it. Jeffrey, you could have backed them up with some music, man. What the hell?
I was about to say, vocal booth is open. I'm looking at it.
Oh man. Well, I love that, guys, and that's just good energy going into this. Dakota, I want to flip it over to you to talk just, you know, a little bit kind of freely, but about lifestyle design, and kind of hitting some goals there.
All right. First thing I wanted to suggest was the book, The Psychology of Money. I heard you guys talking about money by Morgan Housel. He's a writer for the WSJ, and I just finished his book this week. And I've read a lot of money books and kind of obsessed about money for years. And probably the best book on money mindset that I've read. And just to share, like a win for me, I guess, is that book really made me realize I'm just bored with money. Like I'm bored thinking about it. I'm bored optimizing it. I'm bored trying to earn it. And it was kind of this thing that I pursued for like more than 20 years. And it was kind of, it really hit me yesterday. I talked to my wife for a couple hours about it and just how we're going through this simplification process where like we have an ancient cat right now who needs a bunch of care. So she's not able to travel with me, but when he's gone, like I'm going to have my Italian citizenship and we're going to be able to live in Europe, and all this lifestyle design stuff kind of has played into that. And I needed money for that, but it's been this really strong focus for me for basically since I left high school. And so, yeah, check that book out. I think you'll get something out of it. I definitely did. And
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so lifestyle design wise, what do you, just my approach? What do you mean?
You know, I like I said, I really do admire what you do, Dakota, like on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, not like, you know, you run a company or like you have these other, you know, things that you're involved with from a business standpoint, but just kind of the way that you deal with those, like, I think everyone in here is good at getting their job done, their main job. I think everyone in here is looking for something else, right? Like, I know Jeffrey's looking to write more music. I know Jordan's obviously looking to do stuff with the community. You know, Steve has about 20 things on his plate for you know, that he's looking to accomplish, right? And like, you know, everyone's looking to just like add on these things. And you know, when I connect with you and you're like, you know, I didn't want to learn piano, I learned piano. You know, I didn't want to learn Italian. Dakota's texted me before this. She goes, do you want me to present in English, Spanish, or Italian? Right? Like you actually did it, right? And you scheduling these 6-day bike packing trips across Oregon, what seems like monthly to me, or you know, and just I think that's something that we all would admire about you if everyone knew more about you. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts or tips or tricks that you picked up along the way about like how you've kind of baked that in and you know, prioritize different things to be able to focus on what you want really.
And Sean, Dakota, I would also rate to what was Sean just said. I re-listened to your podcast yesterday. You seem to be able to pivot pretty well, at least from what I've heard. So in line with what Sean said in that lifestyle, how do you know or make that pivot when you want to make a change or when you realize maybe that portion of your life is ready to change?
Good question. Well, so the first thing I would say is that for me, time is the ultimate currency. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but that has driven most of my decisions. Where initially I thought that I wanted financial security. Like I grew up on food stamps in Northern Idaho and didn't have any financial security, saw my parents struggle a ton and just did not want that. And I tend to react really strongly to negative stimuli. Like my dad drank, so I don't drink. They didn't have money, so I wanted to make money. And I've done that with other things in my life. And I did that with the money stuff. But then I realized that I traveled for a year after college and I came back to have my first engineering job sitting in this shitty cubicle and staring at spreadsheets. And I had a digital picture frame on the right with a year of exploits around the globe, just living my best life. And I just couldn't hold the two together with 10 days of vacation and just decided I need to do something more flexible. So it pushed me into that. And so all these decisions have kind of come from a place of wanting to have more experiences in my life that aren't driven by money and that aren't driven by fear of not having enough. And so what that did was it let me not have sunk costs. So I had, 4 years in college getting an engineering degree. I worked as an engineer for a year and a half. I built a business that was like a 7-figure business, ran it for 4 years, and then basically stepped away at the peak of my income because we were financially independent. And it's like, okay, I'll hire people, they can do the stuff that I don't want to do. If it craters, that's fine. Like we didn't have a ton, but we had enough to do like kind of Mr. Money Mustache, if you know him, the 4% rule kind of stuff. We live frugally, great. And then that business has just continued to earn money. And so what I've seen is that the more that I just follow what I want to do and focus on community and connection, curiosity, that it's just like the ramp kind of unfolds ahead of me. And so lifestyle design wise, I've just really focused on pursuing these things that feel true to what I really want to be curious about. So whether that was community building here, when we got to Bend, we jumped just headlong into it. And that was fun. And then we pushed too far. My wife and I, that's one thing I'll recognize is that we can be pretty intense about stuff. We don't do stuff and just kind of, we'll try it. We're like, we get into it. Like, oh, let's go travel. And that 4-month trip turns into 3 years because we're enjoying it. But the general mindset, and like she stopped working 10 years ago when she was actually a real estate agent. And we just decided that it wasn't worth the lifestyle costs. We read the book, Your Money or Your Life, and we're just looking at the cost of running a business and the eating out and not enough time with friends or family and not being able to show up. And so she stopped working at the peak of her income. And it all has come back to how can we have the time and the flexibility? Because I really believe, and the Psychology of Money talked about this a lot, but it's always driven me that if you don't have flexible work and you don't get to call what you do, who you do it with, when you do it, it's really hard to be happy. And at least for me. So that has really driven me, is just how can I come back to the central rudder, just driving me straight, sailing on with, I want to be able to do what I want. Like yesterday, I woke up, I thought I was going to go for a bike ride. Instead, I sat there and read Psychology of Money for 3 hours and finished it. So to be able to have that kind of choice for me is well worth not having as much money. And so I'm always looking to make time versus money trades where we can have enough to do the things we want without having the cost of not doing something that I don't want to, or sorry, doing something I don't want to. So mostly I'm just trying to reduce the things that I don't want to do and think about like the die with zero philosophy, where there's only certain times in my life where I'm going to want to do these dumbass bike packing trips for 3 weeks and go push my bike over the passes in Colorado. Like I'm not going to do that in my 60s. So I want to prioritize that time now. So does that answer any questions?
For me it does. Rob, if you have anything to add, definitely do. But what I guess what your philosophy seems pretty straightforward, and I think it's pretty respectable to choose time over money. And I think it's what I'm hearing from is it sounds like a little bit of a wave we need to ride, where maybe we do need to get that out of our system of, oh my God, like let's try to earn money at a certain point. But what I think is really admirable is like, you did well, and at the same time, you're not 100 millionaire, right? So it's like you were able to, in real time, like realize like, oh, I'm not just going to keep on this trajectory where like I need more and more and more. You were able to live more frugally and start to make like decisions about like your happiness. And then once you kind of got to that spot, you realize like you risked losing a lot of the income, but you didn't. From what I'm understanding, it's like it was a risk. It was a fear that didn't come to fruition. Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions about that transition point. For me, that's what excites me the most. Like, I don't think this is a course on how to like make the money or what to do with your time. I think it's about that decision point.
Yeah, one thing I would add is that you need something that you are excited to go to. So anybody who's working towards financial independence, you can't just go sit on a beach. Nobody that can become financially independent in their 30s or 40s is the type of person who can sit around and drink margaritas for the rest of their lives. So you need to have something that you're excited about. Like I've been blogging regularly for almost 10 years. I do a lot of mentoring. I am engaged in a lot of things in the community. And then I have the hobbies that I do, like piano and language, and that there's just always something that's exciting me. And if you think that you can just step back after having an intense work career and then just coast, there's no way. So build that net before you get there, and then have like either accountability if you need that with people. I tend to do accountability with like a text to a friend daily with a drawing that we exchange or a piano video. And then some things you don't need it, the things that you're motivated enough to do. Like Sean doesn't need somebody to work out with in the morning, but maybe he needs somebody that for some other aspect of his life. So finding that, I think that helps a lot with landing on something you enjoy.
Appreciate that. Rob?
Yeah, so to follow kind of along that, Dakota, something you mentioned in your podcast I found really interesting that I think were really similar is you mentioned that you get excited about something, you go on to it and you kind of do it and you do it real well, but you don't always go to the master portion of it. So I find that in my life, I'm really good at a lot of good things, but I wouldn't really say I'm like a master of anything. But I'm aware, I have self-awareness that I'm that way. So it's sort of refreshing to hear you say that. So my question is, have you learned to sort of embrace that? Or is that something you work on to maybe try to follow through or to take it farther? Or have you sort of accepted and that you're aware of that's how you are, and then you sort of manage it? And I think that kind of ties with my pivot comment, where it seems like you've done a lot of stuff really, really well, and then maybe you were you satisfied your, what you were looking for, and then you move on to something else. So any thoughts around that would be great.
Yeah, so I think you've got me summed up, that the Pareto principle, the 80-20 thing, the math concept is the asymptote, where you put in the effort initially, you get really good improvement, and then you start tapering off, where it takes a lot more time to get any better. And I just find at some point there's so many things that I want to do in life that I don't know, I've never had somebody pushing me like, you got to be a professional piano player, you got to be able to do this, you got to make $5 billion. That for me, sampling all these things just makes me really happy. And so realizing that and just going with it. And at Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek, that was the book that I read in spring of 2007, right after I got my stupid engineering job that I hated. And that's what made me start thinking about, I need to create a business. I need to have flexibility. I need to be pushing myself. I didn't lie down in any bars like Tim Ferriss, but I did a lot of stuff that was uncomfortable, and just training that muscle over and over to not worry so much. I heard, I think it was Brian talking about not worrying about money. I constantly was worried about that. And then at some point I was just like, you know what? Over and over, I've demonstrated myself that I can make money. So why the hell am I worrying about it? I should just go do these things. Like my blog turned into a business and paid for my Sprinter van. And I was just blogging about traveling around my van. Like, wasn't even trying to make money, and like tripped into a bucket of money. So I think that if you, like Sean's talking about, you have vibrations and then the effort, when you actually start putting yourself out there on things you're passionate about, people are going to show up and support you, and you're going to find a path. Maybe it's not even money, maybe it's just satisfaction, which I think if you have enough to keep the lights on is really all you need. But yeah, pivot wise, I guess I've never thought about, oh, I put in 4 years and the tuition for a engineering degree, I should stay here and just grind it out because I need to make that much. For me, it's just like, I got to move on. This is not filling me up in the way that I want. And so, I mean, I've done that with athletic stuff, like 100-mile mountain bike races and Strava chasing records on that. And I mean, like, at some point, what the hell are you doing? You're doing the same thing over and over without new results. And we all know what that makes you.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Dakota. And I dropped an article in there. It's a quick article on Tim Ferriss, after he came out with the 4-Hour Workweek, did this thing where he decided, the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of your effort gives you 80% of results. And he said he can get good at anything in 5 days. And, basically he was saying you can get to 80% mastery. And if you love something, like absolutely love something, Jeffrey with music, like maybe it is worth going to a mastery. But, with a lot of other things in life, it's like, you're just not going to become a master at everything. I think, like, if that article excites you, reading that book I was talking about, The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler, or any of the 4-hour books by Tim Ferriss is killer. But yeah, I did want to jump to kind of like a new category, unless anyone has any questions on what Dakota said there. Comments.
I do have one question. First off, you're super inspiring. I appreciate it. And like, a lot of the things you're mentioning are all the signals of what I'd call success, right? And I try my best to like mimic the signals of success, right? And in the moment though, it's funny because like, I feel like you do these things from an energy that I don't know how to get to, right? So when you're doing a 100-mile bike ride, or when you're doing whatever it is you're doing, if it's a language or whatever, do you feel like I'm gonna use running as a metaphor. Do you feel like you're running to it, or you feel like you're running from it? Because for me, I feel like I'm running from stuff, but it seems like you got a different energy that you're running to things. And that's big distinctions?
It's a really good question. I think for a while I was running from things, or like say Strava, if you guys know that, it's like a social media thing for athletics. Like that was a validation thing, like showing that I have worth because I was top 10 on a trail that 6,000 people have ridden, and putting weight on that kind of thing. And then in other aspects of my life, it wasn't driven by that, but letting those things go and just focusing on the things that feel like I'm just curious about it. Like I'd talked about piano forever. I was telling Chelsea the other day that when I was a freshman in college, I went and test drove a Lexus IS300 that I couldn't afford. And I talked to a friend after that. It's like, I just can't wait until I can listen to classical music with that sweet ass sound system and drive my Lexus. And she said, don't get too old too fast. And so, but I mean, I've like wanted to learn piano forever, but didn't give myself permission. And I think that's been a lot of it for me, is just pursue these things that I've been curious about, and then just give myself permission to go do it. And I think that generates the pull that I'm only doing things that I'm excited about. And I've done a lot of things I'm not excited about, and that's what allows me the financial flexibility to do it. But I think knowing that I could get there and have those things in the future, and that it felt concrete, that I would have that kind of success, has been enough to motivate and pull me.
Brian, you asked a great question, man, about running to things or running from things. You know, on some of my trail runs trained for this race, sometimes I feel like I have a gravitational pull, just I can't stop running, whether I'm uphill, downhill, whatever, like I'm just flying. And other times I feel like it's such a grind. And it's funny, I really don't think it's a physical thing, right? You can break it down to, did I sleep well, recover well, eat well? I think it's just all what attitude I go into it. Guys, we only have a few minutes here, and there's something that I want to start doing called leads and needs, where everyone basically really quickly says, here's a lead I can give people, and here's something I need from everybody. And obviously we don't have time for that, but what I do want to do is focus on what I think is the important part, and that's the community. And, you know, this is a group that I want everyone to feel really comfortable with. And if I'm wondering if anybody wants to, you know, we can just start going because we only have a few minutes, share anything that they need right now. It doesn't have to be a major need. You don't have to be like, I need this from you, but something that you're looking for. You're looking for someone to review a business plan. You're looking for an introduction to a whatever, this person, you know, this is a chance to do it, right? Like just, you know, if you have questions, like, you know, that's the whole point of this community. So yeah, I mean, I'll start by trying to lead by example, but right now I am we're within the last few weeks here of the retreat, and I'm looking for another 1 or 2 people to sign up for the retreat. So if anyone has anyone that they think might be interested in it, please reach out. Either connect me with them or share the information. But you know, that'd be really helpful for me. So if anyone has anything, please share.
I got something. I'm gonna just ask. So I have a small batch manufacturing company. I am a woodworker also, and yeah, I'm taking Christmas orders. So anybody want a humidor for like their dad, or like a cutting board for their mom, or a tie rack, or a metal stand, I don't know, whatever you want. I have a bunch of products that are under $200, and I'd appreciate the support.
You have a website?
I don't have a website. I'm a word by mouth type of guy right now, and I'm gonna switch it up at some point, but I'm not really marketing too hard at this exact moment. I'm just taking Christmas orders and stuff. You can see my stuff on Facebook if you follow me on Facebook.
Cool. Drop your Facebook in the group. Good question, Jared.
I'll hop in real quick. So we're ramping up for spring semester. One of the things that our platform offers to our industry partners is opportunities to work with student interns, where instead of getting paid, they're actually getting course credit. They're very much are different depending on who you're working with. We work with grad programs, undergrad programs, but overall, they're always guided by faculty, and the students are really focused on trying to create real value for the organizations that they're working with. So we have a lot of them coming up. If you're interested in taking on a team of students, I actually got a chance to do that with Praxis Health, thanks to Dan and the connection through Sean. And they had a really cool experience with the Notre Dame students. So we're doing that program again. So I'll just drop info about all of them here. And then if you are interested in anyone in particular, I can actually send you the link and details about that specifically. So looking forward to hearing from you guys, but in any event, it's great meeting you. And Sean, thanks for putting this together again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got Marquise is a college professor full-time. Steve's the CEO. And then actually send me an email about the Honolulu one. There's a company called Still and Moving. That's one of my clients that I think I'm just reading through that now. I think they'll be pretty interested in. So yeah,
I'll do that now. Awesome. Cool.
Pleasure to speak with all you guys. Gotta head out.
Sounds good. Yeah. Me too, guys. Hey, if you have anything, drop in the group or text me. I can distribute it. Again, this is like the we all need networks and groups of people to kind of like help us with things. So if you think you'll ever do something on your own, probably wrong. So definitely feel free to. One last thing is this is our group. It's definitely not my group. So if you guys have anyone you want to add to the group, any additional thing you want to do, Steve and Rob, we're kind of in a little book club email right now. Maybe we have another meeting about a book club if people are interested in that. Like any ways to kind of spice this up, let me know. And then lastly, let's say thanks to Dakota for just being on the spot all call, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Dakota.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
Sean.
everyone.
See you guys.